Okay, so like last week, I'd like to cover a few of the trades I've been through. And you mentioned last time that we should cover some of the losses. So I'm going to do four different losses in this video. The first one I'll do like this from TradingView, and the other three just from my notes. So this one here, this is on ES, and it's on a 4 hour right now, making all-time highs. This is from the 29th of October. So the idea I had on this one, here's the 4 hour again. So I saw structure coming up. There's the swing structure in purple, obviously. I saw an SFP of 4 hour structure right here. And I saw price make a swing higher low right down here, dropping down to the 1 hour chart. So my idea was pretty simple. It was to go for a long from down here if we came back to this level again. This was previously demand on the 4 hour, and I was thinking maybe it could hold up again. And my logic was, because price SFP'd this guy and it came down and back up, and it did touch this high again, that down here is going to be a good long zone, a protected low per se, even though it didn't break a structure up. So first off, would you consider a long like this? Would you be setting up a trade, an alert at this area, and taking a trade even based on a low time frame? All right, moving along. The trade on this one was at around 10 or 11. Zoom forward a little bit. All right, so we got the touch of that higher low, and when it touched, we got a big 5 minute break of structure that you'll see right here. Now, I did not enter on this 5 minute. The risk to reward was pretty bad. But when this happened, I started looking for a reconfirm of some sort. So I was looking for this kind of thing to enter on this. So what happens? Dropping down to the 2 minute. Okay. So price forms a, I saw this as a miniature little range. Okay. Now price SFPs said miniature range. I told myself, if this gets a break of structure, which it could be forming right here. So my mindset was, if this has a break of structure up on a 2 minute or maybe even 1 minute or above, then the target is going to be this high. And if that guy breaks, then it might be continuing this, which could mean this. Does that logic make sense? What happens? We get the SFP, I'm sorry, we get the 2 minute break of structure. Maybe it's a 3. Okay, there it is. So a little internal IBOS there, 2 minute. So we had that, and I am in the trade. I had the stop below this wick here. And for a target, I was going up to maybe up to here or above. I've been targeting 2.5 RR or 3. I'm usually happy with that, but this is a 3.5 and this is a nearly a 5 to 1 at this swing high if we came all the way back up to that. So what happens? Price continues along. Up here there is a 2 minute bearish break of structure against me. I did not exit based on this. I thought it could easily come back and just be mitigating this zone here because it was never mitigated. So I'm still in the trade. I did not break even or anything else. So at this point, I'm still in the trade and price almost takes me out, but it doesn't. In fact, it gives me a reconfirm here. Nice little 2 minute, again, down, up, down. So I'm still in the trade. I have not moved my stop loss. It's still down here. And then I get taken out. And I believe price dumps from here. So let me know what you think on this one. Was this just one of those trades? Was it a management issue, or was it the idea itself? Was this idea flawed for a long from this zone? Let me know what you think on this one. Let's go ahead and pause the video, talk about that, and then I'll jump into the next one. Actually, hang on. Before we pause it, these are my full notes from that one. And this is the, again, 1030 ES fractal high-low sweep. All right, this is a pretty good visual too. So there was the X, there's a bigger structure down, and I actually moved my stop loss a little bit here, but it still ended up in, I think, an 0.8% loss or something. So yeah. All right, let's pause and then we'll jump into the next one. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna take this one from the trade log directly. So on this one, under expenses in the red here, let's go to 1024 on euro. This is similar. This is also a fractal high or low sweep. With some differences too. So on this one, here is the 45 minute. We've got swing coming down, 45 minute swing in purple. There was a 15-minute break of structure up here, but it did not take the higher time frame high. After this 15-minute boss up, shortly after, there's a 10-minute boss down. My mindset here was that this could be a continuation of the overall swing bearish order flow. So 10-minute boss down. Now, after this happens, and this is where things get very internal and fractal and where maybe I get a bit confused. So we had the 10-minute boss down. That structure comes down here, as you can see in the blue, and it flips back up internally on a 45-minute. So now I've got conflicting pulls. I am in the premium of this little range, I see, but I've got 45-minute down, I've got this 10-minute down against a boss 15 and a boss 45. I was thinking shorts on this trade. So if we go down to the next portion of it, This is on the 15 minute, just to give a better visual. This was a question I had posed on this. So I saw this IBOS 10 as a continuation of the 45-minute bearish swing. It could be, but the internal flipped back bullish. So I'm talking about this IBOS 45. Does that change the whole idea? How does that affect my plan? So does this trade idea make sense to you, or is this a big red flag to just avoid the trade, wait for the high, or is it a pretty sound idea? Going down to a lower time frame, here's the 3 minute. So this is where I actually entered on this one. So after that 45-minute internal break of structure up, price comes down to mitigate, and we have a break of structure 3 minute, comes back up for a retest, and relatively equal highs here, and IBOS 5, and that's where I entered short right here. Now I was aware that this IBOS 5 really just meant that this was the local target, but of course I was thinking that price could come deeper and come down here to mitigate something in here. I put my stop all the way above this because there was a little 3 minute supply that was left right here. All right, so what happened? So on this one, like I noted here, I could have exited on this. So after that IBOS 5, price came down and it hit the local target. So it hit right here, but it did not continue further. Instead, it flipped back up on a 2 minute and just kept going up. I noted here that, of course, I could have exited on this, but I did not because there was supply left. There was a 3 minute here, and there was also this. So I was thinking that could hold up. Is that idea right, or no? If you were to see this, where price hits the local target, is it break even? The trouble with going to break even so fast is I just often get stopped out. You know, price will come back here, mitigate something in this area, and then continue without me. So my mindset has been, if I have any supply left that could back me up, I don't break even that quickly. Even if there is like a boss 2 against me like this. Now, of course, if price comes down deeper, down into here, then I think I would have went to break even. Let me know if that mindset makes sense. And that's it for this one, so we can pause and talk about that for a second. And to reiterate, this one was on the 24th with Euro. Not sure what time. Looks like it was mid-afternoon. All right, let's pause for a sec. Okay, next trade. All right, this one's on November 7th on ES. So here's the 4 hour. This is kind of like the first one a little bit. So high time frame, price has come up quite a bit and it's made a big retracement back into a 3-day demand zone on very high time frame. And it's made bearish structure, and recently it just came up and had a fractal 1 hour break of structure here, and now it's coming back to retest its higher low. So that was 1 hour. So on this one, here's the high time frame view that we can see. So my idea is along right here. It's pretty simple. So I saw this as being in a macro demand and a 1 hour break of structure up right here, and it's fractal. But when this happened, this area here became a long zone for me. This purple line right here where it's wicking. Would that be a long zone for you as well? Why or why not? So down to the 3 minute, this was a pretty simple entry. Here it is. So here's that purple line again from the 1 hour SFP, and not the best looking break, but it's just 3 minutes, so I still took it, and I got in right there. And this one took me out immediately. On this, however, well, let's pause and talk about that for a second. What you think about this idea, about the entry, about the trade? Was it solid? Was it something you would take? Okay, a note on this one. A few moments later, there was a re-entry that I did not take, but that I considered. So after the boss 3 came down, took me out, and then there was a boss 5. And the RR was not great here, so I didn't take it here. But when price came back to here, it dumped quite a bit. There was not a, here's a 2 minute. This is that price again. There was not a reconfirm, but I considered entering right in this area. And I considered that because there was 2 breakup structures in a row. There was a 3 minute followed by a 5 minute. The 3 minute was a fake out that took me out, and the 5 minute was not. So I considered entering right here. What I actually ended up doing is I hesitated here. I did not enter because I wanted some kind of reconfirm, and there was nothing. So I did not enter here. Later in the day, I was at the gym and my alert went off, and I saw this. This is on the 2 minute, and it came here and had another breakup structure. So I entered, I think right before the breakup structure, right on this wick, and it ends up taking me out again on this one. So that was 11.7 ES. All right, let's pause, and then we'll get to the last one. Okay, this last one here, this was on the 13th, so a few days ago, also on ES. Here's the 2 hour. So on the 2 hour, there's been really major bullish action. It just had an 8 hour break of structure, and it came into a 30-minute supply zone up here and had a bit of a reaction from it. But as you can see, price is currently testing this 2 hour demand zone that's coming out of this higher time frame swing. And you can see that it had some inducement here, so it almost hit it here, almost hit it here, but it didn't quite. So I figured a third tap would make sense. So I saw this as an internal accumulation that could be a Model 1. So a third tap into this 2 hour demand for a possibility of a rotation back up to the high here. Here's the 30-minute chart. Here's a look at that supply zone, by the way, over here. Ever since our last talk, I've really been emphasizing these because of the way they look. Because you can tell this zone, how it took liquidity over here and then dumped, just looks like a really good zone, and this actually was. And this ends up being a major supply zone, actually. So that's the 30-minute view. From the 15-minute, here's where we are, and this is where it's tapping on the third time. And take note of this up here and what you think on this. And my mindset on this is, yes, this is a 15-minute boss down from the 30-minute supply, but price can very well hold up with the swing structure, and it could accumulate internally. So 1 tap, 2 tap, maybe 3. It did on this right here, this area, it did accumulate, I'm sorry, it did distribute again. I was aware of that, but I didn't really factor it in. I saw it as an internal distribution with the target just being this low anyway. Is that correct in assuming? So here's a third tap and down to a low time frame. It was only a 1 minute, but I still took this. And it wasn't the best looking 1 minute as I notated, but I haven't been too specific on that. I found that sometimes candles look really good and it's not a trade, and sometimes they look terrible and it's the trade. So I haven't really found a good method for looks good or looks bad. It's also very hard to make rules around that, but let me know if that really would have weighed into your decision here, and if it does, let me know how I can apply it. you know. So anyway, here's a 1 minute break of structure on that third tap right here, and it's where I entered. And on this one, I think it just it comes right back on me. So it comes back up, hits this little supply, and takes me out. So let's talk about those.